Hey families, so we are talking today about how you've changed. And oftentimes in our life that's been kind of a insulting kind of phrase, I think, like, oh,
Oh,
whoa, you've changed. And I think even in early parenthood, it would be like, wait, why are you reacting that way? Or why are you saying that? Like, you've changed. What's going on? And what we have come to learn is that we do change very much as individuals, which changes our patterns, our expectations of each other, the way we relate, the way we operate. And so instead of that being kind of a resentful thing, it gets to be a refresh, an invitation to figure out, okay, now you've grown in this way or you've changed in this way. Now, how do we work together? And I think a lot of couples struggle because they want their same communication patterns, their same routines, the way things were before to still be what works, and it just
doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
right.
what's one way for you? We'll just give some quick examples of us and then get
Mhm.
into where we know you guys can go and grow and have some conversations around this.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, that reminds me two things really. There were a lot of friends that we had that were without kids,
Hmm.
and at that point, like when we had kids, there was such a time demand, right? Like to be at home and be with our kids and take care of them. And a lot of our unkidded friends were like, they didn't get it at all. They're like, come on, let's hang out, let's do this. I think like they were still friendly and stuff, but there's really no concept of how much of a life change it is.
Yeah.
For me, being more introverted, I always like to have the time to collect my thoughts before I speak, before I make decisions. And it just felt like the shit hit the fan, and we had to make decisions on the fly and had to do things on the fly and change, like our talking style. Before, we used to really be able to dig in and talk it out, and now it's like you got a minute to say what you need to say, and usually it comes off a little bit more aggressive if you have to rush it. And so that obviously created some tension, so a lot changed, it really did. But you're right, like it is a level up, it is a transformation. It's just like, we go through these stages of growth. We see them like as we're growing up in our bodies, we go through all the different physical changes and stages. And like this is a huge psychological change. And it's not always recognized as the same way. People so expect you to be the same way you were
Yeah.
before kids, and it's really not. It's just not.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think you hit on a really important point here, which is that there's not really structures, there's not traditions, there's no kind of cultural welcoming or tradition around the coming of age that is becoming a parent. And so
Right.
I think it's
There may
easy.
be in other cultures for
Yes.
sure, but
Yes, we're
yeah,
speaking from the
ours.
US, very westernized. There isn't a lot of that. And so I think it's hard for us to give ourselves that space and that room and to say, like, oh, wait, maybe I'm changed. We have a lot of like, everything needs to be back to this, everything needs to be back to that.
Mhm.
So we're kind of inviting you into the rebellion here.
Mhm.
If you're in this group, you're in the rebellion that says, I'm actually going to dig into this. I'm going to, make some sense of this. I'm going to use this opportunity. And you were sharing, I think that the one example I want to use about how parenthood changed me is that I was used to just like being the loud, extroverted front runner, like making plans, coordinating everything for people, knowing who's bringing what to the Sunday potluck or whatever. And I did not have the capacity, nor very honestly, did I have the confidence to do that. I became just really, I lost a lot of my confidence because I lost a lot of those social places and the spaces where I knew myself. So that too was kind of this lack and this yearning in me that really impacted how we related to each other, how we as a couple related socially, and all of these different ways. So we share this really, hopefully, as an encouragement, as an invitation, because we know that our relationships get stronger when we're on the same team, when we're on the same page, when we're able to work together on this. So we want to invite you that you get to learn. You get to learn these new ways to be refreshed and maybe even level up as a couple when it comes to knowing yourself, knowing each other, working together as a team, and communicating. So we're gonna leave you guys, and these will be in the in the information below this. I'll type these same questions and prompts out as well. But some ways to just stop saying like, oh, well, you've changed. Oh, you've changed. And,
right.
and fix that and alter that to more of a, yeah, babe. Yeah, babe, you've changed. You've grown kind of energy. So the first tip and kind of invitation step here is to be someone who makes room for understanding your own growth. Okay, the most frustrating thing is feeling like you know something's changed in you, you don't quite feel the same, but you don't know how to express it. You don't have the time and space to understand it. So you're kind of like trying to operate on autopilot in mindsets and methods that don't work anymore. So that first invitation is for you to be someone who makes room for that and to kind of justify and give yourself permission to do that.
Yeah, and your relationship with your spouse is going to change so much. So automatically we just would think like, oh, well, it's going to be the same, but it's not. So don't compare what you have after baby to what you had before baby, because it's totally different. Before baby was like dating and all the fun, free time, and all the stuff that was just you guys. And now you've got someone that needs all your attention, or needs attention pretty much all day long, and so you're not going to have attention for each other. It's really the next stage, and it's uncomfortable at first. Like anything new is uncomfortable. There's that learning period, that transition period, and once you get through it, it's awesome because you're leveled up. Like you're really moving in that space, and you're a dad, you're a mom, you're a family. But the transition is hard. It's rocky, it's bumpy, and it just feels like the rug is pulled out from under you while you're supposed to be doing stuff, and you're trying to get a new rug and take care of your kid and everything all at the same time. So it's crazy. But honoring, it's not going to look the same, and honoring what you just said, the change. Be someone who recognizes, like, I am transforming. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you're going to be that same person for the rest of your life when you're 90.
Yeah. We'll get into this in another video, but we had an awesome conversation about just how like we like watch and celebrate our kids' milestones up until a certain point, and it's like at 18 you're expected to just stop changing and be this static person. Like that doesn't make sense. So we'll do another whole video on that. But the last thing that comes, point 3 from these first two, is to set aside some time to discuss it. Share what you're learning about yourself with your partner. Let your partner know where you've seen them grow. Like acknowledge this and be okay with not having the perfect words for it, because you get to kind of stumble through together, be figuring this out together. It really opens up some more, I think, intimacy when we're able to have that vulnerable conversation of like, this is how I feel, or this is how I'm reacting, or this is what I'm needing, and this doesn't feel the same to me. This is new, or this has changed, or the way we're having this conversation has changed. So really getting intentional about making space to discuss it. And you can literally start that with something like, hey, I would love tonight if we could sit down and have some time to just talk about what has changed in these last 6 months.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do that.
Oh, shit. Now I'm going to have a meeting tonight. But this could be at any point, right? It could be the first 6 months of your baby's life. It could be the first 6 months of them being 2 or 5, because we are continually changing and taking on new roles together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Life is just constant change, really.
Yeah.
So
hello. Welcome to it. All right. Well, these prompts will be down in the caption section below, and you can interact with it as well. Let us know what this means for you, what you're thinking, and we will be back with another video for you guys shortly.